Flip the unit over and remove 10 5mm screws from the bottom cover. Fold the unit up and insert the opener pick between the bottom cover and the palmrest. Gently slide along the edges to pop the bottom cover free. Unplug the battery from the motherboard. Remove 3 2mm screws and 3 1.5mm screws from the motherboard. Flip open the locking clip and unplug the LCD cable from the motherboard. Flip open the locking clip and unplug the touchpad cable from the motherboard. Peel back the tape. Pull back the locking clip and unplug the palmrest cable from the motherboard. Flip open the locking clip and unplug the daughterboard cable from the motherboard. Gently pull up to pop the antenna cables free from the motherboard. Unplug the sensor cable from the motherboard. Remove 2 3mm screws from the battery. Peel back the touchpad cable. And remove the speakers. Unseat the cables from their guiding paths. And unplug the speakers from the daughterboard. Remove 2 2mm screws from the daughterboard. Unplug the microphone cable from the daughterboard. Flip open the locking clip and unplug the touchpad cable from the touchpad. Remove 3 2mm screws from the touchpad. Gently push down to pop the touchpad free from the palmrest. Remove 6 4mm screws from the hinges. Unseat the camera cable and the first antenna from the guiding paths. Unwind the other antenna from the guiding paths. Place your finger on the hinges and gently wiggle the palmrest free from the LCD assembly. Replace the new palmrest. And align it back with the hinges. Reseat the first antenna cable along the guiding paths. Reseat the second antenna cable and the camera cable along the guiding paths. Plug the microphone cable back into the daughterboard and replace the daughterboard. Replace the two 2mm screws back into the daughterboard. Lift the palmrest partway up and slide the touchpad back into place. Replace the three 2mm screws back into the touchpad. Plug the touchpad cable back into the touchpad. Plug the speakers back into the daughterboard. Replace the speakers and reseat their cables along the guiding paths. Replace the battery. And replace the two 3mm screws. Replace 6 4mm screws back into the hinges. Replace the motherboard. And make sure all the cables are out from underneath. Replace the 3 2mm screws and 3 1.5mm screws back into the motherboard. Plug the sensor cable back into the motherboard. Gently push down to plug the antenna cables back into the motherboard. Plug the daughterboard cable back into the motherboard. Plug the Palmrest cable back into the motherboard. Plug the LCD cable back into the motherboard. Plug the touchpad cable back into the motherboard. Plug the battery back into the motherboard. Replace the bottom cover. And replace the 10 5mm screws.